Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Widen Your Knowledge, Enhance Your Knowledge, Frontiers of Knowledge, whatever you want to call it. Well, each one of you uses Facebook. As a matter of fact, the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and over a score of others have become so important in our life that we use them. But the use of these media is essentially motivated by different factors. None of you uses it for the same purpose. And when I find people use it for keeping tabs on their friends, for instance, promote their work, promote themselves, and even sometimes, interestingly, promote their cute toenails. And many times I'm amazed that they go to the Facebook mentioning where they are going, what they have eaten, and what they drink. Basically, all virtual communities and social networking have a Rashomon effect. Now, Rashomon effect is that the users group interpret the experience using it differently. So it's not a criticism of any user. It is, in fact, an explanation and explication of the psyche of the users. What type of Facebook user are you? And that, Rashomon effect is rarely perceived. As a matter of fact, there's a huge variety that characterizes the psyche of the Facebook users. At least there are 89 different varieties, but broadly, they can be grouped into 4 major heads. And those are different for different purposes, but essentially they are relation builders or window shoppers. Town criers are people who believe in selfies. So it's a source of stress and depressing for some people. It is an instant way of seeking help for some people when you need help. And qualitatively and quantitatively, something is very important. People go by the likes that are liked by their post, how many likes they had. Now let's look at the basic user profile of the Facebook users. First is the relation builders. Now, human beings are an extremely social animal. And Facebook is a means to promote social interaction. At one time, human beings used actual mail and landline. And those days of landline, the snail landline phones, and the actual mail, now called snail mail, is over. So basic purpose of those and now the Facebook and the cell to some extent is to strengthen existing relationships with friends and families. As a matter of fact, Facebook is an extension of your offline line because the relationship enables you to express your feelings, your love, to let your family know, and also permits the family to express itself. The formation of groups has aided and abetted this psyche. Now, Facebook is not considered by this sort of user as an open virtual social society. It's a mini hub site for personal storytelling where the information flows directly between the friends and the families. It's a very private sort of a thing, though it's open to the public scrutiny. In one interview, when you talk to the people, I was talking to people, and she said she didn't call her family, so the Facebook is just a way of saying hi and share a bit of love. The relation builders tend to be heavy posters and viewers of pictures and videos, relating to them, not to anything else. They relate personal pictures and commonly comment on events and updates others have shared, engaged in conversation. So this group is a very cloistered group between themselves, and more often than not, they form another group, a subgroup within the Facebook family. The second group is the town criers. Well, the very name suggests the folk experience a larger gap. These people have a gap between the real and the virtual world. So they are less concerned with sharing posts. They don't post their photos, and they don't post any much detail on their walls, and view it more as a means of informing others what is going on in the news or in their day-to-day life. So they are the town criers. You know, the old days, the town criers used to come, beat the drum, sound a siren, and then announce that the government's new orders are or what happened. So these people perform the work of a town crier. Then there's another group. For the sake of easy understanding, I'll call them selfies. So self-promotion is the main priority of this Facebook user. They post pictures, videos, and text updates mainly for the attention-seeking purpose. And they always see how many likes are there, how many people have approved me, how many people I'm adding every day, how many people I'm losing every day. Main purpose is not to share information. The main purpose is not to improve the society. The main purpose is not to remain in touch with the family and the friends, but the main purpose is to let people know what you are, who you are. And most of the people who in the group belong to this group suffer from an acute sense of inferiority complex. Now, since they cannot interact in social life, this is a means of interacting to show that they also exist. As a matter of fact, this group forms the major portion of the users. While the town criers do perform a social function of disseminating information and knowledge, the selfies only want to interact with a view to show their own self. So the relationship builders is a very good group because this caters to the essential human need of interacting. It shows the need of the interdependence. It shows the need of the societal acceptance and the societal exchange. The town criers perform a major function. As a matter of fact, town criers are a modified form of the newspapers today. They get the information from different sources, even maybe from the magazines or the newspapers, or from their own other sources, and then let the people know what it is. And many a time, as is happening down south in USA, the main media may not give the information, and that information then is disseminated to the social media. And that is why Trump is depending much more on Twitter than on CNN or on Washington Post or on New York Times. because those are only obsessed with presenting negative pictures. And to prove and show his own ideas, he takes recourse to Twitter. What he is doing with the Twitter, majority of the same people, the town criers, are using the Facebook for the same purpose. So these are the three one, and now comes the fourth one. That is the window shoppers. Now, who is a window shopper? Window shopper is a guy who goes to the mall, looks at things, appreciates them or condemns them, and then moves on. No intention of actual purchase. No idea of buying. But the only purpose is that he would only be interested in knowing what the latest things are. Then at least he can brag about it. Well, he has seen this. He may not have used it, but he has seen this. Now, these window shoppers on the Facebook are an inescapable part of modern life. But they very rarely divulge personal information. They do not share photographs. They do not write updates. Nor do they like much of liking or commenting. Very recluse, just watching. No interaction, no social interaction, no awareness, no self-promotion, no town crying. The only purpose is to see what others are doing, period. Now, what happens is these window shoppers are actually a social media equivalent of people watching. There's a parade going on, there's a procession going on. You are not a part of the parade or a procession, but you will go, stand on the sideline, and just watch them go. That gives you a sense of involvement inner, but basically you are not a part of the society. You are not a part of that group with which you are interacting. You are a recluse and watching it. So, as a matter of fact, women and men in this group normally identify themselves with a statement, I can freely look at the Facebook profile of someone I have a crush on or know their interest or their relationship basis. Another says, I have to use Facebook in order to stay connected with the people and see what they are doing. Not what I am doing, but what they are doing. Now, this sort of an attitude is extremely beneficial to themselves, but it has no impact as far as the social media interaction is concerned. You know, somebody made a remark that they prefer to live outside Facebook and yet they look at the Facebook to know. So these window shoppers are the fourth category. These four major categories comprise the vast majority of Facebook users. Now, point arises, are they the only ones? No. As I said earlier, there are 89 different varieties, but there are groups and the subgroups, and essentially these four categories encompass all of them. You see, for example, now the selfies can be further subdivided in introvert selfies and extrovert selfies, aggressive selfies and passive selfies. Similarly, window shoppers can be divided into distant window shoppers, near window shoppers who might make a purchase once in a lifetime, like that. Impulse buying because of the window shopping, so that can be the further subgrouping. Town criers also, they can be very concerned with a specific subject. There are people who are only dealing with music. There are people who are only dealing with politics. There are people who are only dealing with do good, which has no meaning otherwise. But then that is there. So these are the different, but then one benefit is there, of course. Let's not forget it. It enables you, if you have got a variety of friends, to understand the cultural and the subcultural issues. So it's not a bad thing. Facebook user is not a bad thing. The main thing is you have to identify what category you are, and do you need to adopt the characteristics of another category as well to enhance your experience. Each category has a limited experience, but to enhance the experience, you have to adopt the characteristics of different categories. Depends on your will and your intention. Take it as you will, or as Shakespeare would have said, as you like it. Thank you.